Let's see here. I think everybody's on the background there. All right. Let's see.
So you want everybody to clap while we start?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. Facebook Live. Here we go. New Home Dude Insights. We're gonna start here. We've got a group of guys that are in the house, and we're gonna do a virtual today, right? As we're trying to stay COVID protected there. So I want to make sure you guys get a chance to say hello to everybody in the room, and I'll put their information in the back on the bottom of it later. But I'll start with the top left-hand side here, Mr. Richard. Why don't you say hello? Talk about yourself a little bit.
Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works, writing a book with help from Alex and a few others. Run a company called White Pony Dry as well, and we make a bunch of carbon fiber race car parts. So we've been in Arte for 3 years. That's helped a lot. Arte Syndicate changing the face of my business and how we conduct things. It's actually how Alex and I met through Tony Watley as well. So lots of opportunities in this world, just trying to chase them.
Yeah, tell them you haven't got a title for the book yet, have you?
We've got a title. We're looking at changing it. That's what the post was the other day. So 50 things your father should have taught you about cars.
Yep. There you go. So I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate that. Yeah. I'm sure that any car guy out there, which you have a few listening to us, that would love to get to know Richard, connect with him. So I'll definitely recommend that. And we'll go next to Mr. Sung and Nancy. Nancy and Alex, this is the trouble team over here to the right.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Alex Sung. Oh, wait.
Hi.
I sell new homes. Been doing it a long time. You represent I don't know, we've known each other a couple decades.
Yeah, 20 years, man.
Well, one day we're going to be celebrating 3 decades. But I've known each other a long time. Came up in the customer service industry. I think we're still in the customer service industry.
Right.
My wife, she just opened a mortgage. Okay.
Yes.
Well, a mortgage branch.
Mortgage branch. A branch manager with Private Mortgage. Very excited. We've been in it for about not even 60 days yet. So very excited. So new time, new year, new world. So
there you go.
Working with you guys.
Yeah. A lot of overtime.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing BDM for
So Alex is also known as the new home know-it-all.
Yeah.
So the name ought to tell you a little bit about his personality right there.
Yeah. I'm not cocky.
All right, that's okay. I think that out of all of us here, the last cocky will be my next guy here, Mr. Michael. Why don't you say hello about you, dude?
Hey, Michael Harrington here with Guaranteed Rate. I've been a mortgage consultant for the last 24 years. Like to brag about working with the top 4 of the top 10 HBJ magazine teams here in Houston, which of course Alex is one of, and they were actually my number 1 team this past year. So thank you guys. Right. And been doing mortgages for a long time, and just enjoying this past year. Doubled the business from 19, so no complaints. Of course, I'm sure the rates being in the 2s helped.
That's right. Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. I remember when I started in 2003, and people were looking at 6 and a half, and they were talking about how wonderful the rate was then.
Yeah,
right? So 6 and a half. So if I sold you a home today at 6.5% interest rate, how many homes would you buy? Probably none, right? Nobody would buy one. But back in the days, I was selling 10, 15 homes a month at 6.5% interest rate. So that's kind of stuff you can tell how real estate changed quite a bit. Now, one of the things I also want to bring up, my friend Will here, bottom right-hand side. Will, say hello. Tell everybody what you do, what you're up to.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Richard, good seeing you again. Just saw you this past weekend. So Alex and I have known each other for quite a few years, not decades, but quite a few years, good years, quality years. We met through love of cars, love of driving, love of instructing. And I work on Wall Street. It's basically I pick stocks. I'm in Houston, but I pick stocks, mainly energy stocks, although as you guys already know, last few years, oil and gas stocks haven't been the greatest. So we've expanded our horizon. So, investing is one of my passions along with driving. And then, I'm a full-time dad as well. So I have a 3-year-old daughter. We're working on adding to the family. So that takes up basically all my time.
That's right. There you go. So you guys can see our idea of today was to bring a really good group of people that have a vast knowledge in different things, different businesses. They're very successful at what they do. And what I wanted to do is just make sure that we have a group of people that can pass on some great knowledge as well as some really interesting things that they've learned over the years, and that maybe will help someone out there that's in need. So our goal is really to give out value. So the goal of the conversation we're going to have with these guys really is to give you some sort of value, something that can make a difference for you. And if you see something there that you like or appreciate it, share. Let us know what you thought. Comments. We will be taking on people for the next week as well. Hopefully, this will become something that we can run on a weekly basis. So for now, I'm gonna ask you guys a question that I'm not sure if you heard it before. If you have, great. Give me your best answer. So I'm gonna start with Richard here, since that's the format that we went, and then give you guys in the end there a little time to think about the answer, which is kind of cool. So Richard, you're gonna be put on the spot a little bit, but that's all right.
That's all right.
So think about it this way, and that's something, a conversation that we have. We have a lot of young people, right, going into the new world of work that we're dealing with, and things have changed a lot. So if you were to go back, Richard, yourself back anywhere between 18 to 22, 23 years old, and you're finishing up college or graduating out of high school and going straight to work, and you could tell yourself something that you've learned, something that will make a difference and an impact in your life, that you could teach yourself back in that age group, what would you say?
I would follow that up with what exactly all four of you stated, is you've been doing the same job for 20 plus years. Early in my life, I had ADD worse than you can imagine. Would be in a career 4 to 5 years, get frustrated, get bored, and I'd jump out. Jump to something else, climb up real quickly, 4 to 5 years,
right.
Get bored again, think I should be doing better. It takes time. It takes time to master things. And looking back, it's really an amazing perspective getting now as old as I am with the gray. Now turning 50 this last year. Things have changed a lot. And we talk often with our kids about how at 21, I knew it all.
Right.
And they don't understand how much I thought I knew it all. But the work, the time off, you don't get the time back.
Yeah.
You just work and work and work.
And I'm glad you said that, because we had a conversation a little bit about that the other day about, 4 or 5 years ago, if you had a problem that you have now, how long it would it take for you to be able to resolve that problem, or if you're even able to do it at all, right? Where now, because of the knowledge and experience you have, you can knock that out in just a little bit, right?
Yeah, things are super, super easy. I mean, we had a friend that's in cars that called. His mother's vehicle was broken, don't understand what's going on. We go over, plug the scanner in, it's throttle body, order the throttle body. We go over there in 15 minutes. We got the car running.
Right.
They've been messing with it for a week.
Right.
It's just having the right tools, having the right knowledge.
Right.
You're going to get kicked around. It takes time.
And you guys can all fit into some of this as we go. But what I wanted to say is that what I've heard many years ago is that it takes you 3 to 5 years to become good at any given field. And it takes 7 to 10 years for you to become good to excellent, or maybe be considered an expert. So your first 3 to 4 years, those are your learning years. They're not your earning years yet, correct, guys? That will be your learning years. This is when you're learning to become good at something. This is when you're setting yourself apart from the competition. When you go to your 5th, 7th year, that's when you're going to start seeing yourself really getting better at it and becoming somebody that can be considered an expert. But it takes 15, 20 years for you to be able to go back and say, hey, Richard's been doing this for 20 years. He is an expert in his field. Does that make sense? And I think that's something that all of us here would agree. I'll pass it on to Sung here also. And same question, if you can answer that for us.
Well, I think mine's not so profound, but I do think, on the fly, I always kind of thought about this, thinking back, kind of work my way through things, right? Kind of didn't go and finish college and go through things, but I think I've been selling my entire life. Now I think back, I think the one thing I would tell myself is to aim higher, aim a lot higher. Yeah, I think I do a lot of dreaming, and my wife tells me this all the time. Like I'm always working on something, right? Something really outside the ballpark of what everybody else is doing. But I think aim high, really, really high.
Yeah, I take a different approach actually, because Richard, you mentioned everybody working in their field for 20 years. I'm actually, compared to everyone else, newer, and because for the early part of my life, for 20 years, I was in a different world, working in the same industry, working in corporations, working up the rank, because that's what you're taught to do when you from my world, my dad says, go get your education, go get a good go work for a good company, stay in the company, do the job, work your way up, and that's what I did. And I think if I had to do it over again, it's what I tell my children now. I have one that's in college, is truly follow your passion early on. Not just go get the job, not just go, work your way up and just kind of settle, because I always tell them now's the time to follow your passion, because if you do it later, you got to pay the bills, you got people to support, you got, there's things that are now holding you back from moving into that world of passion. So I said, whatever it is that you want to do, now's the time to follow, now's the time to chase it, because, otherwise later life is going to hold you back. It's going to be harder.
So I'll bring a piggyback to what you're saying, though, Nancy, because I've known you for a long time too. And even though you're in a different line of work, what you do every day for a living is very similar. And the reason why I say that is because you've always been customer service driven.
Absolutely.
So you were in a different line of customer service, but you're still in customer service. So all of the experience that you had on your previous career and previous experiences in life have been able to bring you over to something else that now you can continue adding upon. So you have a different skill level, right, that's specific to what you do, but your well-being and your passion is taking care of people, because obviously that's what you're still doing. Right.
We were actually having a
talking about that
conversation
last
yesterday.
night.
Yeah, there you go.
When we talk about strengths and what we do, it's like that is my passion and that is my strength. And I'm fortunate enough to take that into this world. It's just a different way. I say it's just a different widget.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm still taking care of the customer. You're absolutely right.
This is what everybody remembers about Nancy.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so cool. All right, Michael.
Oh, man. So looking back to like age 19, 20 when I got in this business, I would say that, gravitating myself, like if I could look back and tell myself something, it's to kick all the negative people to the curb and really gravitate and surround myself with people that are more successful, that have the goals that he talked about that were much higher than probably what my goals were. When I look back at my 1996, 97 goals, I laugh out loud because I can't believe I aimed so low. But
you had goals.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Yes.
But that's because, again, I had a mentor who's actually still in the business that said, you need to do this.
That's right.
But I just wish I had more surrounded myself with more people like her the entire route. Like I'm talking from spiritual to financial to business to family. Like if you like, I never had a dad. So I had to make sure I looked at other father figures and said, I want to do that, and then gravitate towards that and say, how do you handle this situation with teenagers? How do you do this? So I think it's about making sure that you put people in a circle around yourself, surround yourself with successful people, beg for it. I mean, pay for it if you have to. I mean, I have a I have a health coach this year because of what happened with COVID, me gaining weight again. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to try and do this by myself this time.
Right.
I want it gone in 3 months or less. I'm going to go to the very top guy that's like on stage that costs a fortune because I have the money to pay it. I'm just going to pay him to teach me what I need to do right now as quickly as possible because I don't have time to try and figure it out for myself. I don't have the money and the time to do it. And then I would probably, the last thing I would say is I would make sure I notify myself that time is more valuable than money from the very beginning. Like if I had, like writing a book, I've been wanting to write a book. I've written half a book. Alex has written a whole book. Richard's writing a book. My book, it's like I've been wanting to do that for years, but you got to tell yourself time is more valuable than money. And once you realize that at a younger age, man, you'll do incredible. Because at a young age, you're like, whatever. I'll do it when I do it, And then you realize as your kids get older, I got to do this stuff now, or they're gone, they're out the door. Right. So you just realize how valuable time is versus money at an older age.
And you touched on a whole lot of stuff, so I'll try to go back a little bit. But one of the things that I want to bring it up, and not to put you on the spot, but at the same time that you say it, because it is important, is you mentioned that you grew up without a dad, right? So we have so many people that have limitations due to parenting, right? Whether they had no mom or had a mom or no dad or bad dad or whatever the case may be. And it holds them back for so long, if not all of their lives. Michael is a great example to show a lot of people, and so is Alex, who doesn't mind me saying, to the fact that you might have not had a great mom or a great dad, but that does not stop you from becoming somebody or wanting to do what you want to do in your life. There's a point that you have to look back and say, you know what? Whatever my parents did to me, for me, with me, stops here. And now it's my turn to take over my life and do something with it. And that's why these guys have done well and successful, because they stopped blaming their parents and they stopped going back and finding excuses, and they move forward towards something, whatever their goal was.
One thing I say to myself all the time is I'm not going to be a product of my environment. That's it. There's that phrase. Every time I think about those things, I just say, okay, I'm not going to be a product of my environment.
That's awesome. Very good. Great, man. All right, Will, put you on the spot now, bud.
I'll say, you guys took all of the good ones. I'll say two things. First is I thought an exercise I did when I was in my mid-20s, broke, negative net worth, and I did an exercise that really I thought was kind of eye-opening to me. It's very cliche for a lot of people to say, hey, do what you're passionate about, and you never work a whole day in your life, right? Well, the problem is my top two passions were I want to be a professional video game player and I want to be an F1 driver. The problem with that is they weren't very realistic in terms of getting me into a kind of a livelihood, a reasonable livelihood. How about that?
Yep.
And so I kind of had to say, okay, so what, I kind of had to put the other side of that story. I was like, what can I do that I'm passionate about? May not be my top two passions. If it is, it's great, but I have a reasonable chance of success. That I'm better than your average person. Right. And for me, it was being able to do quantitative stuff and liking stock, liking investing. I was like, I can make a career out of that. It might not be as good as being a professional video game player or driving like the Lewis Hamilton like he is. But I was able to put those two together and kind of direct me towards the career that I have now. So that was a very worthwhile exercise, especially I think for guys who are in their 20s who are looking for some sort of direction in terms of the next 20, 30 years. And the second piece of advice is similar to Mike's. I think one day in my 20s, I woke up, maybe in my late 20s, and I woke up like, the whole thing about making sure that everybody likes me or being cool and doing the cool things, I don't give a damn anymore. I'm going to do, and my true friends will come to me.
It took 5 minutes for you to become relaxed there. Well, way to go. I was waiting for something to come out. So there you go. No, but that's true. You're absolutely right. That's a great advice, man. Because go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, stop trying to fall in with the crowd. Be yourself. Yeah. Like, let yourself, the real self come out. Be able to take the risks you want in a comfortable way that you want. Yeah. And then your true friends will come. And they're the ones that who are, like Mike said, like, they're going to come, give you the positive environment, help you up so that you help them up and create that, kind of a long-term relationship.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. And I have teenage kids, right? So I've told my kids multiple times to not worry about so much what people think or say, or your best friend is best friend that. Odds are that best friend's not going to be your best friend forever, right? Most likely, not at all. So the most important thing is that you really just focus on you becoming a better you so that you attract the right people to be along your way as you grow into your journey, right? So that's really what it's about. So anybody's got any finishing thoughts on that last questions, I'm going to go to our few friends here on Facebook Live and answer some of their questions and stuff too. But any closing comments on that first section?
No, I thought Will was definitely going to say buy Apple stock.
But see, so here's the deal. Before I go into that one, I'm actually going to finish mine real quick, right? Because I didn't ask that much to myself, but I would say starting in stocks earlier, it's one of mine. So if I went back, right, and I say, what are you going to do? I'll say buy some more stocks earlier. That's definitely one of the things that I would say that I wish I'd done more of, right? I've always done it, but I just wish I had to go in deeper because there's definitely a lot to do with stocks there. So hopefully all of you guys invested in some sort of stocks these days. If not, it's not too late. Get in there. Right, Will?
Sure. Never too late.
Never too late. All right, so let me take a look here. We got some friends saying hello. So we got quite a few people here. So say hello, Philip. Is that Cherie or Stephanie? Monica, Maria, Holly, Riley, Renee, Kathy. We got a lot of people say, hey, hello, Emily, how are you? Hola from Kabul. What's up, Don? Monica says video game is actually a thing now. Video game players do make money now, Will. There's still hope for you. There's still hope for you there. There you go. So, yeah, we got AJ's on there with us. Celeste, what's up, guys? And then you got Mr. Cortland saying that saving and investing is great. So invest. So we got a lot of people watching. So we've got Jed here said buy stocks, invest instead of buying stupid stuff. So basically, don't buy stuff you shouldn't be watching or buying. There's Mario. Hello, Colleen. How are you? And here we go. Celeste says, "Goes, teach me some stocks." There we go. We can definitely talk about some. I am not a stock trader or trainer by any means, but I can tell you a few things I know, and I'm happy to. Right. So there's a whole lot of questions there. No, I did get a few offline before we started this, and most people are talking about, what do you look at when you're starting your year? And I'm glad that we had a few of the guys here talk about goals, right? So when you write your goals, how deep do you go into your goals? And is that something that, going to even a comment that Michael made earlier about how his goals were so simple. I think that one of the trends that we can see here with everybody in the room is that they all have written goals somewhere, somehow, if not multiple goals. Personal goals, business goals, health goals, whatever the case may be, right? So you guys want to talk about goals a little bit? Anybody, go for it.
Sure, I'll go first. I do it based upon 5 different areas. So for instance, this is Q1 2021 or just business goals. Now this first page is the goals. The second page is a plan of action for first quarter, and it's by date. What am I going to do on January 1st, 4th, 5th? And just certain days I'm going to start doing certain things. It's 15 minutes to read the entire thing. So I plan every morning after my workout, read the goals, because if I don't read them, I won't get them done. I've got ADD. So I'll pick something from the goals to do immediately, immediate action in the morning, because my mornings are usually fairly clean. I don't have people interrupting me or my day getting off kiltered. Right. But having that, having those before your year starts or before your first quarter starts is key. Then health goals. So my health goals are kind of my dream is to. You could be non-specific. It could be I want to weigh a certain amount before my 20th anniversary in Cabo on March 14th. Okay, so I have to lose 50 pounds to get to that goal weight. That's exactly 1.8 pounds a day, or per 3 days, or whatever your goals are. And you just break it down. I mean, Zig Ziglar said he lost 4 ounces a day. That's how much he lost weight to lose 40 pounds, was 4 ounces a day. So you do the math. That's okay. That's 1 pound every 4 days. He did it in increments, and it worked out for him because it wasn't some audacious goal. It was a realistic one. You cut out 400 or 500 calories a day. That's 4 ounces a day. There, it's gone. So, but you have to break it down. So you set the goal, and then you do a breakdown of what that goal is, how to hit that goal. If you're in business, for instance, new home sales, maybe he wants to hit a certain income. Maybe he makes a certain percentage per transaction. He's got an average dollar amount per transaction last year. He does the math on what that is. If he wants to make X dollars divided by a number of transactions, divided by a number of average loans, sales prices, this many transactions, divide that by 12 months, he has to do this many transactions, closing. Okay, well, how many leads coming through the door equals that many transactions? It's all mathematical. So if you know how much money you want to make and you're in sales, you just got to know how many contacts equals how many sales equals how many dollars. And you should have, everyone nowadays should have a worksheet to figure that stuff out. I can tell you exactly how many leads I need per month in order for me to hit my goal this year. So it's exactly 93 actual loan applications each month for me to hit my goal.
And I'll say when Michael says that he's ADD, he's not joking. He really is ADD. And the reason why he's able to be successful is because he writes those things down and he puts it on a planner and he organizes himself. Because if he doesn't, he won't get anything done.
And there are a lot of templates out there, right? So the thing is, you must follow it, whether it's very detailed, kind of like what Michael, I have really detailed one as well too, right? There's lots of templates out there. The key is really to get started, write it down, right? So that you can follow up with it. Now, if you do all these kind of action plans, micro marketing, and all these things, starting from a revenue plan all the way down to a business plan to your goals and plans and actions throughout the year. But if you're not following up periodically, whether it's quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily on your goals, right, and how you lay them out throughout the year, then you kind of miss that point of it too. So it's not just writing it down, setting aside time and whoever your combined goals, because I have combined goals with Nancy, right? And other, I guess individuals, right? So I work for a company, but also work for myself. And so I have to rely on other individuals to help me with my goal, but also pushing them to help me achieve what I want to achieve from an annual revenue, right? So I mean that's just kind of from a financial lens. But the key to it is again start, but you gotta follow up, and it has to be systematic. You gotta put it on your calendar to do that meeting with yourself or with a partner to keep you accountable. Really, accountability. That's a lot of it, I think.
And as you mentioned, it's a team effort, but not just in our individual world. I mean, I as I mentioned, I work for corporations running, doing spreadsheets and business plans and quarterly reviews and all that stuff, throughout my career. But one thing that you cannot put on paper is usually a team effort, because we're a team. I work with a team that helps me successful. So it's also just the goals have to be collaborative between everybody involved, because collaboratively is how you're going to get to that end. So it's motivation, it's incentivizing, it's about, just making sure that, everybody's on the same page and working together as a team to accomplish those goals.
Yeah, this could be a whole clubhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
Sorry,
sure.
we were talking about that
Go
earlier.
ahead,
I still don't know what that is, so.
We gotta look it up later when we're done here.
Yeah.
I'll throw in one thing on goals. It's probably the only thing I have to add on goals at all is my game is very weak compared to you guys. But Andy and Ed had given us a thing, I guess, 3 years ago now about putting it on your cell phone screen, because the average American looks at their cell phone every 7 minutes.
Right.
So my screen is my financial goals, and then the second one is a goal to take 20 friends on a cruise. And that's every time I pick up my phone, it's there.
Hey, am I on that list, bro? I want to go on the cruise.
Keep it up.
I see. Hey, Michael, I saw your screen there. That was pretty cool. So you have yours.
So yeah, this is Buffini. It's how to win the day, how to win the month, how to win the quarter, how to win the year, and it's a quick synopsis for sales. But it's what I look at every day.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
Yeah.
Will, anything to add, Will?
I'll just say this: just be fluid, be realistic, right? Like for example, if your goal every year is to make X amount of money, reach a Y amount of wealth, lose C pounds of weight, right? And as you progress through the year, have that was my previous goal, but I'm going to be realistic, right? Be fluid, so that when you get to December 31st, if you don't reach it because it was unrealistic, it's not a failure.
That's right.
You progress in the right direction.
That's
You're
right.
reasonable. There were things you did right and you did wrong, and you could push it to next year,
That's right.
right? And that keep your long term firm, but keep the shorter and medium term more fluid.
Will, that's a great thing to talk about. I'm glad you added that, because sometimes people do have that feeling of, oh, I messed up. I didn't accomplish this and accomplish that. But it's about the journey too, right, guys? So it's what you become and how much better you are over the course of the years that you do that. So if you didn't hit exactly what you wanted, you've done something. You've moved forward better than what you were yesterday, right? So that's really the goal, is get better so that you can accomplish it, if not today, tomorrow, right? But you got to start somewhere and you got to work towards it. So that's really, really good right there. What I say about goals is it's that I can go back and look at a lot of goals that I have written, and a few things will happen. One, I have accomplished a lot of what I wrote in my goals. Two is a lot of things that I thought was important to me no longer are. And I'm sure you guys might have had some of those happen too. They were on my goal list, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to do that. And over the course of years, that became not really that important and relevant. So that's not a goal that I want to do, but I replaced it with something else. So what you're going to notice that there's going to be times that you're going to change, and you're not going to be the same person you were 5 years ago. So a relevance that you thought that would have been the most wonderful thing in your life, that you put it down as a goal, 5 years from now you may look at it and say, that's not a big deal. I really don't want that anymore. I want something else. So for example, I'll give cars as an example. Richard and Will are both here with me in cars. So, I could look at a car right now, and my wife had this conversation with me. What's your next car? What's your goal? And I'm like, I really don't care. I don't have one. Because over the years, I bought and had just about any car I've ever wanted. So now it's like, I don't really care. So if I get a car that comes in my attention and I like it, I'll buy it. But I don't have a goal to have a certain car. It's not part of my profile right now. I'd rather put that money into investments or buy stocks or anything like that. But if the car comes around, and then I'll change my mind, I'll go buy it, right? But it's not what it's about anymore. So that's why I want to bring it up, because don't feel like if life changes or if your goals are not the same, it's just because your why is more important than anything else. And that's what it should focus on. And the reason why you do things and how you do things is what's important, not what you accomplish along the way. Those things are really, at the end of the day, just ribbons, right? That's what it is. So, all right. Comments and questions on that before we close on goals? Michael, you are overachiever, my friend. You're watching us and participating. That's good. All right, vision board. Yes, we're talking about that too. So very good. Hey, Jonathan, how's it going, buddy? All right, so Will, I wanted to talk a little bit about stocks since you're on there. So a lot of people are scared to get into the market because they don't understand, right? It's just one of those things. It's foreign to them. They've never had any kind of training. They don't understand what is a good person to call on to maybe manage their money, or they may feel like they don't have enough money to even start it. So all of those things are pretty normal. So what are some of the things that you've heard or seen people say, or that you would recommend to give them kind of, hey, this is what you should do to start, or maybe look into this or that? If you can give a little pointer there, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think the best advice I could give is that no amount is too small. You have $20, $50, $100, $1,000. Just start. Interest rates are near zero. It's not any good sitting there. But when you start, it's a risky move, right? Don't be afraid of that risk, right? Money you put into it. Start slow. Don't put it all into penny stock day one. Look at companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, right? And then just you buy a share, 2 shares, see where it goes. But start with real money, because when you start with real money, there's a very different emotional and mentality versus paper money.
Right.
It's not the same. You don't treat it the same. It's like video game racing versus real racing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even close. But no amount is too small, and don't be afraid. You'll be surprised. You put it. The market is hot this year. So you put your money into a few fairly safer type of companies, right, and you see the gain, and you realize what investing is all about. And next time, if you do, you do have that $500, and you're debating between I guess a Gucci purse, or I'm not even sure $500 is enough for a Gucci purse, but you're debating
like a keychain, maybe.
If you're debating against versus a Coach purse versus putting into Apple stock, maybe you'll think about it, right? I'm not saying don't go out and reward yourself with things nice, but there's a very big difference between quote unquote investing, which is not, into something that only loses value, versus putting money into something that you're like, you wake up the next day and like, whoa, just went up 10%. Magic, I didn't have to do anything, right? Except for pick that stock. So, like Alex said, I also wish I started investing a lot younger. And no age is too young. So my daughter's 3. I'm thinking a few more months before I start teaching her the fundamentals.
There you go. Typical Asian right there. Overachieving on that too. You're like, hey, you get up. You're 3 years old. You just started walking. Let's open the brokerage account. There you
go. Back to what he was saying earlier about being Lewis Hamilton. He started at 3, right? 3 years old. He started in karts. 5 was racing for Mercedes. So
that's right.
Starts early.
That's right. Yep. Now he's knighted. My friend is an official knighted. So that's pretty cool. Hey, Caroline, what's up, my friend? All right, talking about mortgages now. I'll give Nancy and Michael a little bit to talk about. I started doing new home sales in 2003. I was a little bit younger, obviously, and a lot of people out there question the ability to buy, or how much is it, or how hard is it, or all those things. And we try to explain to them, there's a lot of really good programs out there for down payment assistance. There's grants, there's this, there's that. And people a lot of times are scared because they don't want to get denied, per se, right? They don't want to get that nasty letter in the mail saying, you're not approved, you're no good, right? So I would like you guys to talk a little bit about that and explain to people that that might be the case today, but if we look at the right path and we sit and analyze why is that the case and what can we do to get you to that next level where you wanted to be so you can afford to buy something, So talk a little bit about that, guys. Give us a little insight on it if you don't mind.
You want me to go first?
Sure, go for it.
So one of the things I tell brand new home buyers, because they sometimes think that they can come to the table with no money. And of course, agents are not usually having that discussion with the client ahead of time about how much they have to literally bring to, a new construction table, earnest money on an existing home. So what I usually tell people is remember your vows. Number one, AEIOU, which is appraisal, earnest money, inspection, option fee, and it's all upfront. So I usually go through that with them until they're repeating it back to me. And then I go over the dollar amounts and what that upfront amount is. And I explain to them, with the difference between new construction, existing construction, and of course, how much that money is coming back to them at the table towards their down payment if they have a down payment. But I've got 3 clients right now that are doing USDA because everything's moving so far out.
That's right.
In Dallas, it's moving to Melissa, Texas, and Van Olstein, which is way north of McKinney. In Houston, they're moving all the way out in Simon. Yeah, and the thing is, all those towns are less than 10,000 on the population, so they qualify for USDA. And a lot of people don't know what USDA is. They're like, "That's beef, right? I get to get better beef for my house." So I just tell them, look, USDA is an option. It's 100% loan, lower mortgage insurance. It's harder to get approved. I'm not going to lie. The automated approval system does require higher credit scores. You can't go in with a 600 FICO and think that you're going to get a USDA loan.
Right.
And here's the other thing. Credit Karma, it's like the easy bake oven of credit reports. It does not give accurate numbers whatsoever. So
right.
I always tell people, where'd you get your credit score? I always expect them to say, I got it from Credit Karma. I'm like, okay, so a 600 on Credit Karma is probably a 540 in real life. So when people say Credit Karma, I'm already saying, let's pull the real credit report. Let's actually get an eye on Credit Karma. It's not. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like snake oil, man.
I get it. You're not buying Credit Karma in stocks. Okay, we got it. No Credit Karma stocks for you.
Now go to my Facebook page. I put a difference with what Credit Karma versus actual credit reports is. It's kind of a humorous picture, but I would say that people that come to us about credit, any type of program, like down payment assistance programs, I tell them it has to fit. Your income has to be a certain amount for most of those programs, and your credit has to be a certain score in order to even qualify for them. I don't downgrade it. I closed my first house with down payment assistance from the city of Houston when I was 19 years old. To this day, I'm the youngest person I've ever met that's bought a home. 19 years and 2 months.
I was actually going to ask you that. What is the youngest person besides you? Because I know you bought it really young, but besides you,
so there was this. I call it a triumvirate of 3 kids. They were all techies, and they bought a house together in Katy, in Grand Harbor. And one was 19, one was 21, and one was 22, and they bought a $350,000 house together.
Hey,
so
there you go.
And they looked like they were 12 because they were. I mean, no offense, but they were Asian. I swear to God, they looked like they had baseball caps. They looked like they were 12-year-olds buying a bunch of.
I had a co-buyer the other day. I had a co-buyer that was
they invested their money early, though, right? So there you go, Nancy. What about you? Anything to add on that?
Well, I've always been, and I always kind of touted even before coming to this company, I've always been kind of a fan of sustainable, responsible home buying. And as Michael mentioned, DPAs are great, but it's not a one shop fits all. Nothing is actually a blanket that fits all. And I tell people, whether you're 580 score or 700 score, doesn't matter. I mean, everybody has the opportunity to buy a home. It doesn't necessarily that one program fits everybody. So, people first thing tell me, do these 580s, do DPAs? I said, let's see where you are. Because now sometimes FHA is not even a right fit. Maybe they fit into the conventional. I explain to them the difference of why one may be better than the other. So one of the things that I like about where I am right now is, we have programs for everybody that fits, but not one size fits all. That we have this Thrive for Home program. So sometimes somebody may come to me, they may have a little blip on their credit report. They may have something that, is an easy fix, or even if it's a long-term fix. everybody kind of deserves to be in a home. Let's see, and if you have the desire, the will, and you're committed to this journey, we have our Fight for a Home program where we put you in, and it's exactly that. We get you down the road into this journey of getting you into this home. And, whether it's fixing your credit, whether it's helping you scale down student loans. So it kind of follows along the lines of my always beliefs. Again, I'm looking for sustainable home. I'm looking for somebody who's going to be in a home and kind of set that foundation for their families, for their future, and not somebody who's going to look and, we'll just stick you in this program, kind of squeeze you by, and it may not be a good fit for you, and you're going to pay the price for it later. So, that's just my personal belief, and so I take everybody individually as they come, and I make sure I take the time and kind of walk them through the process as their particular circumstances fit.
There you go. Monica said 21 for her. Say, what's up, Hector? And Leon just joined us. Very cool, guys. So I'm going to go back here on Richard. So Richard, you are an entrepreneur by heart, right? That's just, you're that guy from the beginning.
Yeah, just always playing with something, trying to make a nickel. And that was like talking about goals earlier. Don't make nickels, trying to go for dollars.
Right? So
misconception as a young child.
So let's talk about most of these guys right now. They're working on their corporation, right? You're the guy here that stands out on, hey, I'm a standalone guy. I'm on my own. So talk a little bit about what some of the misconceptions and challenges that people have as being their own business owner, and maybe some of the, besides money, right? So what are also some of the good things that you do have? And, an advice you can give to somebody that's starting out or considering to open their own business.
First thing I tell you is there are no business hours. As a one-man show, and you guys probably know this as well in the field of work that you're in, the 9 to 5 is an absolute joke. It's usually 7 to 10, 7 to 11. Most weekends, sadly, I chose racing as my hobby. As Will was stating earlier, that means I'm out every Saturday, Sunday. I spend the week thrashing on cars to get the cars ready to go back to the track, and then away we go. But through that, the involvement is probably the biggest thing. If you're going to be in let's just call it a sport or a hobby type of business, which happens for a lot of entrepreneurs, starts as a hobby, you love what you're doing, and then you move into it and start trying to make money. They're not customers, they're friends. Treat them differently. A friend is going to come to you and look for a different price. Those are the people you don't want in your circle. Get rid of them quickly. It's taken me 20 years to get to that point where I could just tell people, sorry, I'm not doing it for that price. This was something, I can't remember what book it was I read, but I consider the business I'm in being sales. And they said, if you're not losing 50% of the jobs that you quote, your prices are too cheap. And at the point I'd read that, we started looking back at roll cages. Let's use that example, building roll cages in cars. At the point I'd read that, I'd never lost a cage sale. And it took me 3.5 years of continuing to raise prices before we ever got our first customer that said, no, it's too much.
Wow.
And it's shocking, right? Like,
so you got 3.5 years of lost income, at least you can think of, right?
Yeah. And it's a very simple process. Just keep increasing the price, because what we're selling is art. What we're selling is a craft, and it is making people safer so they can actually go race a car. So it is somewhat of a disposable income, and it's priced differently than if you're going and buying a tire from Walmart off the shelf.
That's right. Yeah, and that's why, I kind of wanted to put that out there in regards to, having your own business, because I think all of you guys are successful because you have pride in what you do, right? And you work, whether for a company or for anybody, you really work for yourself. You just have a brand behind you supporting what you do, and you're on your own per se, right? But at the end of the day, we all have the same mentality. So the difference really becomes, what is your goal? What do you want to do? If you want to work for yourself, and you have to have probably more discipline than if you work for someone else, because you're not going to have anybody checking up on you, right, Richard? That's one of the biggest things. Yeah. Nobody's going to come knock on your door. On you. Yeah, if you don't show up to work today, you don't show up to work today, right?
Yeah, I will say this, though, that I don't know a true entrepreneur that doesn't sleep well. They all sleep well because you work so much during the day. When the day is done, it's like unplugging an old incandescent light bulb. Light just goes out. I'm asleep in literally 15, 20 seconds at the end of the day. Still, just how it works.
Right. See? The only time that doesn't happen is when you have ideas in your mind, you're trying to put something new together, and then that's completely the opposite.
You walk out to the shop and start working on the floor.
And you start working on the middle of the night.
Yeah, if I'm racing, I just get
That's it. That's it. You can't do it. You're completely done. Yep, you're done. So, that's something that you obviously consider. I know that I think, and I've had this conversation with some of you guys before, is as you grow in your life and you get more experience and you get older, most business owners that are successful start their businesses in their 40s, 50s, or even later. And I'm sure you guys knew that. There are some people like Richard that started younger and have been doing it for a long time. But a lot of people is their second, third career, right? They retired in something to go do something else. Or they got tired of their bosses and decided to become their own boss, right? Whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, the discipline has to be built over the years. It's not something you just get it overnight and kind of go make it happen. So I wanted to put that out there. So we've got a few more minutes just to close. And like I said, the whole point here was for us to give a lot of good information for people, make sure that it's a great resource and that we're passing out some cool stuff. Hopefully you guys have some great nuggets there that you can appreciate and use. Anything that you guys wanted to throw it out there, last minute, Mr. Mortgage know-it-all guy now. He's got a flip-flop over here in a little bit, but that's all right.
So, yeah, I wanted to go with the same theme, right? So I really, we just decided, okay, new home know-it-all, mortgage know-it-all.
Mr. Know-it-all. There you go.
We're like a little salt and pepper shaker in here.
Yeah, it's not coming through so well, bleeding through because of the background.
There you go. It's all good. It's all good. So, all right. So we already asked that hard question at the end, the beginning about what you guys would have done. So now that you are where you are in your life and you guys are trying to accomplish, what is, let's start with Will this time. Now, Will, what is your big goal for 2021, my friend? What are you looking for the most? Is that baby? Is it traveling? Or is it racing me on the track? I mean, what's going on? What are we doing?
I would say my biggest goal in terms of, I'll separate the pleasure and business. So in terms of business, my goal is still the first week of the year to try to achieve somewhere close, over 50% total returns for my portfolio.
That's amazing. Yeah.
2020 that was achieved, but it was an extraordinary year.
Right. We'll
see if 2021 can continue that.
Yeah.
On a personal level, yes, I'd like to beat Alex Verzendi on the track. It's been a while. It's been a while. I don't like the only time I like to pass this when he's having mechanical malfunction. So it's going to be the win.
There you go.
A win's a win. Take it.
That's right. It doesn't matter. Sitting on the sideline, you're sitting on the sideline. That's all that matters.
Yep.
What about you, Michael? What you got, buddy?
Yeah, so after I say this, I got to run because one of the big things is dinner at 6. I got to be home by 6 o'clock, or I get in trouble with the redheads.
We'll get you out.
But so my big one this year is $100 million in business. I cruised past 60 million this year for the first time ever, and so I doubled 19. So I figured, hey, it's not even double, so let's just do 100 million this year in business, and it's just me. It's not like a whole branch of people. It's just Harrington team. Let's do 100 million this year. So
there you go.
That's the goal.
Awesome, man. Hope it comes. Thanks for participating, and tell the redhead to say hello.
Well, good, guys. It was nice seeing everybody.
Catch you later, buddy. Nancy, Alex.
Your turn.
Oh, me? Wow. There's a lot. There's a lot. Mainly to continue on my goals with new home sales. This year is going to be a little bit different as well too, because of the way the industry has changed because of this COVID guidelines that's happening. So you're rather capped no matter what you do. So shifting some energies to business development for Nancy and mortgage and helping her there.
Yeah, we share the same business goal, obviously, and
right.
Obviously building the branch that we just started and kind of getting that up and going. But I think on a personal level too is having more time with. I think if anything we learned from 2020 is making that time for the family. I think making sure that we value that time with them and making sure that we make that time not just quantity, but making sure we do better quality as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that it was great, to tell you the truth, to have the kids at home.
Yeah.
but now just to kind of expand on that a little bit and, make it more quality time.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we worked from home and they were in school at home. We were still busy. We were just busy amongst each other. So it's just a matter of changing that perspective a little bit.
Yeah, so we have three kids. Like a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 10-year-old that thinks she's 40.
Yeah, like almost like 2 or 3 different generations right there going on.
Yeah, and not even counting the 2 moms.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, don't forget. That's a busy household, for sure right there. So they've got. I'll give you guys a place in heaven when it's time for it. All right, Richard, what's up, my friend?
Big one for me is the book coming out. The goal after the book will actually be hosting my first driving school.
All right.
Under my name, partnering up with a insurance company and a car dealership to make all that happen. So the funding will come through them, and then we will cash in on the revenue from book sales and the individuals in class. So
that is awesome. Are you going to have drifting in your school also?
there will be a section of drifting, basically just like you would learn on a skid pad.
Yeah.
So you can actually learn how to counter steer for ice, rain, and snow.
Yeah, that is. I think most schools don't do enough of that, Richard. Because people slow down a lot on corners, they lose a lot of speed, and that's where the fun is, right? It's at that G.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can set that up, I'd love to be part of that. I can't wait. It's there's nothing like going on the corner, facing the other way, foot flat out on the gas, looking out the other way and going, I'm going that way. You come with me. Because sometimes your car may not feel like it, but you're going to make it go. It's going to happen. So I appreciate that. Richard does everything when it comes to cars. You can tell him a little bit. I know most of it, we talk a little bit about race cars, performance cars, but anything and everything you can think of in a car. He's actually got a cool project for me going on back there. Richard, show your background. We've got my Cayman in the back over there. That car's been a hidden secret for a while. And he's putting a Corvette engine into that car. So it's an outstanding project there that we're working on, and I'm pretty excited about it. So hopefully it'll be out here soon to be on the road, right? Have some fun.
We'll be playing with it very, very soon, and
That's it.
then Will can beat Matt.
That's it. What's that?
We'll let Will drive that, and you drive the BMW.
But then there is no competition. That car is going to be fast enough to. I should be a pretty good contender with it, right?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick.
All right, man. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, when you talk about cars and what I do, I just tell people we work on toys.
Yep.
We don't work daily drivers; it's toys.
That's it.
And
that's it.
that's what's enjoyable to work on. So
yeah, he's got
it's
some
a good
really cool
ride.
stuff,
Appreciate
rallies and stuff too. Yeah, got some really.
Do what?
Things. I said you got some rally cars too.
Yeah, we do some of the rally and off-road stuff. We've done a couple Bajas, a lot of fun. We go to Mexico probably 4 times a year racing down there. So if you've ever had aspirations to race internationally, hit me up. There's a couple races we can go do.
There you go. Well, guys will check into that. So there you go. Yes, Mr. Jonathan, an LS swap. That's it. All right. So John said here also that he wants to sign up for drifting school also, Richard. So he get you. Get somebody.
We'll get you all the information.
Did you guys have a good time? Was it a fun event? Thanks for participating. Hopefully you guys feel like it was also worth your time. For me, it's always good hanging out with my friends. So to me, it's not even much work at all. It's just I'm hanging out with buddies. But I wanted to make sure this was something that we could give people at home a little something to consider, to look into it. It was about, what we got, almost an hour, not an hour, which is perfect. But I wanted to say again, thank everyone who participated and watched it. Leave your comments there later. We'll go back and talk about it. Our friend Ken is saying hello here, Will. John, Alex knows Ken too.
Ken Lee.
Yeah, Ken Lee, what up, dude? Been a long time. We got to get him back out. So, all right, Ken, say hello. So if you guys, Hector said hello to you too, Will. He started laughing when he said he wanted to beat me.
Hector's another one of those that has to be on here soon.
That's
too.
right.
He and I are in parallel worlds.
Hector's got a ton of stuff to talk about. He does.
Absolutely.
I'll get him on there later. So say hello, Miss Monica. We'll see you soon. So guys, once again, thanks for everything. Appreciate you guys. Hope y'all have a great evening and look forward to seeing y'all soon.
Thanks for having us.
All right, later. New home dude out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.